How you doing? I'm on time, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah, I was having lunch because it's 1 p.m. I think. Yeah, 1 p.m.
Ah,
So I came as fast as possible.
just swallow all the food.
Well, yeah, I did swallow everything.
Yeah, that's great.
How you doing?
Good. All good.
So our guest is here. Yo, Victor, what's up? How you
Yeah,
doing?
Victor is here.
Great,
How you
thanks.
doing,
And
bro?
you?
You good? I'm good. So we're gonna start. So here is how we gonna do with the workshop, Victor. So I'm gonna do the introduction, and then I'm gonna introduce you to the audience. This workshop is gonna be streamed on YouTube and Binance. So after that, I'm gonna ask you to introduce yourself, and then you go start with the presentation. And after that, I'm gonna answer you some questions. Me or the viewers or the audience, I don't know. So I'm gonna ask you some questions, and also if there is any questions in the live chat, we're gonna ask you that.
Yeah,
Is that
sure.
okay?
Sounds good.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Tell me, please, can you hear me well?
Yeah, it's a bit I don't know, it's a bit thick. It's not that clear, but if you can enhance it.
I can try to change your mic. Maybe it can help.
Yeah, you try that before we start. So I'm gonna like practice spelling the name of projects. It's Saltivka.
Yeah,
I mean,
Saltivka.
yeah, Saltivka.
Let me find where can I change my mic here.
Yeah, okay. So where you from, Victor? Again?
I'm from Ukraine.
Okay.
Did it change anything? Can you hear me?
Yeah. It's a bit loud, but it's okay. It's better than the previous one. It's
I
much
feel
clearer.
like it's kind of echo.
Yeah, echo. There is echo.
Okay, and what about
Just click on the microphone settings. Let me see what should I make.
I just have a couple of devices and I'm trying to figure out which is one is better. So,
all right.
No, it's much better.
Yeah.
great. Because
That is
sometimes
echo.
yeah. So it's fine now?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we can
Mhm.
start from here. So let me just read this. Okay. So can you start the live streaming and the recording, Yufu?
Yeah, when you hear that recording.
All right. Hello, everyone. Hello to the audience and for the viewers to this new episode of Hack-nostr-on workshop. So I'm Isaac, your host, and this we have today Yufu as co-host. So Hack-nostr-on is hosted by Yakihon and sponsored by DoraHacks. So it's aimed to encourage more ideas, applications, and problem solving. So Yakihon is a Nostr-based decentralized content media protocol, so which supports curation, creation, and publishing, also reporting by various media. So DoraHacks is a global hackathon organizer and one of the world's most active developer incentive platforms. It creates global hacker movements and provides toolkits to help developers around the world team up and fund their ideas and builds via hackathons, bounties, grants, and more. So today we have a special guest and new projects for round two on the hackathon. So we have Victor from the project Saltivka. Okay, welcome, Victor. Can you please introduce yourself to the audience and then go ahead with the presentation? Welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hello, everyone. My name is Victor. I'm working on a new Nostr relay implementation. I'm quite a few years into software development, but I think if we need more detailed introduction and something like that, we can discuss it later during the demo. And today I would suggest to dive into our discussion. And today I would like to discuss why I think Nostr needs another relay implementation, and what does it mean friendly relay, and why does Nostr need many relay deployments or installations. Today we won't dive deep into technical details, and for everyone with basic understanding of how internet works, I suppose it should be understandable what we will be talking about today. First, let's very briefly discuss what is Nostr, because maybe somebody is not familiar, and even if everybody is familiar with what is Nostr, let's get to the same page, and it will help us to, in our specific discussion of what is Nostr, relays, and servers. So first of all, Nostr is a protocol, and protocol is a set of rules where parties agree on something. In case of Nostr, parties are clients and servers. This protocol is built on top of WebSockets, so it means that WebSockets are built on top of HTTP, and HTTP is built on top of TCP/IP, and this will be the most technical part for today, I suppose. Nostr allows building highly specialized clients using universal servers. If you already played with some Nostr clients, you may notice that you have different clients which look differently. Some look much more differently one from another, and all they use the same servers. You can manually input to your client and change them most of the time almost seamlessly. Initial motivation of Nostr was to allow users to manage their data on multiple independent servers, including servers those users can run on their own. But later on, use cases emerged, and now you can see anything built on Nostr, from location sharing services to ride sharing services, file systems, etc. So currently, Nostr mindset is not limited to social media, social networks. Currently, it is assumed that almost anything can be built on top of Nostr. So technically, it's possible to build a lot on top of Nostr, because Nostr doesn't put a lot of constraints on developers. And that also means, in fact, that Nostr doesn't give many guarantees out of the box to developers and its users. Very briefly on what Nostr is not. Maybe it's clear for everyone, but oftentimes I encounter such opinions, which of course may be very debatable and take a lot of time to discuss, but I suggest not to stop on that today. But I will still share my meaning of those things. So Nostr protocol is not magically permissionless space to share some thoughts and data. It doesn't bring anything out of the box to make it permissionless. To make Nostr protocol, Nostr network, Nostr clients, and Nostr servers permissionless, we have to build features that will make it permissionless, clients features and servers features. Nostr protocol is not censorship-resistant network out of the box. To build censorship-resistant possibilities into Nostr network, we need features on clients and on servers. Nostr doesn't actually bring anything brand new in software development. All the clients you see today built on top of Nostr could very well be built 1, 2, 3 years ago, when Nostr didn't exist or wasn't famous at all, wasn't known at all, using simple HTTP APIs that are used by any centralized or open services. So you could do it, but it was a little bit more difficult to interchange those, to swap those services by end user, because different APIs gave you different abilities to manage your data. So Nostr just standardizes some actions around your data and how you manage it. Nostr is not a silver bullet for problems that centralized services have. If you were able to notice, for example, counting likes is a pretty difficult task on Nostr, or counting followers is a pretty difficult task on Nostr. So Nostr still has to solve all the problems centralized services are dealing with every day. And Nostr also has to solve some additional problems brought by its decentralization. So that's what Nostr is not. Then let's very briefly discuss some probably known facts about clients and servers, because today we are going to talk about servers in terms of Nostr. So let's just get to the same page. So first, the term serverless may be known by a lot of people, technical, more technical, less technical, but don't forget that there is a server in serverless. So maybe you heard that many cloud providers like AWS, Microsoft, Google, today they market their offerings like serverless. They suggest you to buy their services and to use some serverless software or something like that. But at the end of the day, of course, your software running on some serverless services is actually running on some hardware, and this hardware is referred to as servers usually. Just those servers are managed by those teams of cloud providers. They are responsible for that, etc. You don't have to manage it on your, but still that's the same plain servers that we had for all of the time that internet exists. Second thing, you may notice, maybe it's my bias, but I oftentimes see it. So Web3 and crypto community often thinks that servers are something about centralization, but that's not. Servers are not about centralization or decentralization. Servers are just servers. You may also heard that, okay, there is something called P2P, and P2P exists for a long time. Maybe you even thought that Nostr is P2P, but peer-to-peer is technology that in theory should exist without servers when clients connect to each other, but it's still a niche software. It's still not yet ready to match for user experience demand. And still, most of the peer-to-peer software requires some centralized service discovery things, some signaling services, etc. So that's probably the reason why Nostr was chosen to be not peer-to-peer. And actually, Nostr is the most classic client-server software. But at the current stage of Nostr adoption, one of the most important things that Nostr should solve is user base growth. And users usually interact with clients, and they rarely understand that there is something behind the clients. A lot of users may just use any client like Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, and they think that, okay, I've downloaded Facebook, it's all on my phone. That's a normal situation. That's why some misunderstanding may happen. Also remember that working with front ends, consider it sometimes as more fun. You interact with user, user understands what you are doing, and unlike on the backend side, on the server side. So yeah, that's just some common facts about clients and services. So it's probably clear why Nostr should have as many clients as possible. Twitter-like client, Instagram-like client, and everything else that in theory could be replaced by its decentralized version. Would be great to have a Nostr in terms of client. But why would Nostr need many servers? Let's dive deeper into that question. So let's first decide how many servers and deployments or installations should Nostr in theory have. What number is better for Nostr? What number is maybe worse for Nostr, etc. If you know, currently there are probably something like a couple of hundreds relays deployments or installations available that you can connect to. And 5, maybe 10 of really well-known relays that are used in popular clients. So this is how things work today. Let's very briefly just to be on the same page, discussed that in my speech, the server is something like software running on some hardware by some entity. So meaning if I launch one Nostr relay as a public service and one Nostr relay as a paid service serving different purposes, it's kind of two servers. But if you are Twitter and on weekend you have increased user demand and you have to scale your servers from 5,000 to 20,000 for weekend, it's not actually servers because it's just the same entity running the same purpose software and just in bigger scale. So just to be on the same page on the numbers and the servers in at least my understanding and explanation. Let's review some well-known numbers regarding servers. So if we want to find out how many search engines exist, it will be something around 20, like Google, Bing, something like that. There are 20 more or less well-known and used services in scope in terms of search engines. If we look for social networks, it's somewhere around 100, maybe 200, maybe 300 if we take into account something small and niche, but it's a couple of hundreds. Oh, sorry, I forgot. So let's start with our hypothesis. We have a hypothesis that software that is aimed to be decentralized and be more universal, have more universal applications, require more services. And let's discuss what does it mean. So decentralized software product with more universal applications should require more servers. This seems like a straightforward maybe statement, and maybe it doesn't even require any justification. But let's try to look at numbers and see if our hypothesis rather correct or not. And let's see different services served by number of servers. If we are talking about search engines, it's a couple of like 20 search engines. And search engine, we can say that this software is not really universal. It serves a pretty specialized purpose, right? Find content, persist it, index, and show. So something pretty simple in general. And if we are talking about decentralization, probably search engines are very not decentralized. They are pretty centralized. If we take social networks with a couple of hundreds of instances, in our terminology, it will be a couple of hundred of servers, which of course may refer to a lot of copies of software running on different virtual machines. We could say that social networks are more universal software than search engines because it may serve different purposes. For example, we can say that instant messenger like Telegram or WhatsApp is a social network that aims on chats. We can say that Reddit is a social network that aims for like long threads and topics. We can say that Instagram is a social network that focuses on media content. So they are pretty different in their usage, and they are more universal software, social networks. If we're talking then about Bitcoin nodes, there are something around 10K of Bitcoin nodes. Maybe it's 20K, maybe it's something a little bit bigger because of private ones, but it's something around this number. And Bitcoin software, we can say that it's pretty non-universal because it's also, the same as search engine, it serves pretty narrow purpose, it's highly specialized. But we can say that decentralization is quite big in Bitcoin because internally it uses some consensus mechanisms, and we can say that it's more decentralized than social networks, for example, because it's very difficult for one entity to change anything in this software and in this network. Then if we look at Lightning nodes, we can see that there are a couple of there are tens of thousands of nodes, maybe even 100K of nodes existing for Lightning network. That's probably because it's more universal than Bitcoin node, because you can use Lightning networks in more applications than Bitcoin nodes. You can use it for small payments, you can use it for messages, you can use it for more different purposes. Then that's why we say that it's more universal. And then by our hypothesis, it says that it means that it needs more servers. Let's go a bit further and look at Shopify instances. Shopify is a kind of a framework for launching, if you don't know, for launching your e-commerce shop online. And they offer you to something like software as a service to run your e-commerce shop on their system. And there are something around 4 to 7 millions of servers serving those needs. And if we say, can we say that e-commerce is more decentralized than, say, social networks? Yeah, probably we can, because Shopify is not the only one provider of e-commerce. There are a lot of them, more specialized, less specialized, more centralized, less decentralized. So there are a variety. But in general, Shopify as an e-commerce store software is more universal than social networks, Lightning nodes, Bitcoin nodes, and search engines, etc., because you can build a lot of things using those software. And finally, we can discuss WordPress. I think everybody is familiar, at least in general, what is WordPress. WordPress is software that allows you basically launch your blog, but it's so universal that some people launch blogs using WordPress, some people launch e-commerce stores using WordPress, some people launch even social networks using WordPress. So WordPress software is very universal. And we can also say that it's very decentralized, because if we say that, okay, is blogging, personal blogging area is decentralized? Yes, we can say that, because single entity finds it difficult to control entire blogging ecosystem in the internet. So we can say that search engines is pretty centralized software with low universality, while WordPress and personal blogging is pretty universal software with high decentralization. And our question here is, where should we put Nostr? Because currently Nostr is viewed as something very, very universal, because currently we try to build social networks and social media system on top of Nostr, but people try to build marketplaces, games, etc., a lot of things. So Nostr is viewed as a very universal software. What about decentralization? Decentralization, if we aim to high decentralization, then this parameter we can play with. So we aim to, and the answer here, in my opinion, is the following. Since Nostr is a very universal software, and if we want it to be highly decentralized, we need to aim for number of servers in Nostr ecosystem much closer to something that offers WordPress, like 800 millions, rather than something that offers search engines or Bitcoin nodes or something like that. So currently there are a couple of hundreds of servers in Nostr ecosystem. It's somewhere here, near 100 of social networks. And my opinion is Nostr should aim closer to here because of its design and because of its aims. Let's move further. Okay, so we discussed, and probably I hope we agreed that Nostr needs a lot of server deployments, but what about implementations? talking about implementations, I mean, for example, NoStream or Nostr-RS, something like that. Can we limit their number in the same way as Bitcoin, for instance? Because if you know, there is very limited amount of different clients in Bitcoin. And what if we don't create new implementations of Nostr servers or Nostr relays and just build on top of existing ones? Here we should point out that Bitcoin software is highly specialized, and what it does is some sort of mission critical. While Nostr, on the other hand, is much more universal software, and oftentimes it may take more risks and experiments and a lot of other things that Bitcoin cannot. So we can say that Bitcoin low number of clients is a limitation brought by constraints that Nostr doesn't have. So we can avoid limiting Nostr implementations like Bitcoin because it's a limitation, and we can not limit Nostr here. So if we agree that we need different implementations, Nostr relays should be different. They should be smart, they should be dumped, they should be live, archive, private, public, etc. Because we want to build a very universal application for Nostr software. And so if we want to build these very different types of software in Nostr, then the question is, should we build all those types of Nostr relays and Nostr features on top of existing implementations? According to Unix philosophy, we shouldn't, and we should keep implementation specialized. So it means that some should be private, some should be free, some should be robust, and some should be feature-rich. This list probably will go to infinity, and while now, maybe because of priorities, maybe because of focus on clients, relays don't offer a lot of features, but with time, user demand will require servers to adjust and to provide different features for different stakeholders, for example, to client developers, for example, to relay operators, etc., etc. Every party will want to have their own set of features. So maybe we can agree that we shouldn't build it on top of a limited amount of implementations and allow big number of implementations. And one thing that is very important for Nostr to solve in short to mid-term, at least in my opinion, is incentives for clients and servers. Because today, Nostr is mostly work on developers' enthusiasm, and the fact that Nostr is not really popular today, not so many users are using it frequently, so it's kind of at the start of its job. So that's why things are working correctly, relays are responding in pretty fast manner, etc. But we have to understand that one day this enthusiasm may end, or bills for relays may be too high, etc. And we have to find motivation for developers to keep their work on clients, on relays, and servers, paying for hosting, keep working on new feature on clients, etc., etc. Incentives are a very complicated topic. I'm not going to argue about it or suggest anything. Instead, I want to build tools that will allow different entities easier find and work with those incentives and figuring out what works for them and what doesn't work. That's why I'm working on a friendly relay with clients and developers, with client developers and relay operators in mind. And this here you can see the list of features that I'm planning to finish in the nearest future. Maybe if you already tried Nostr clients, you already noticed that there are a lot of questions regarding authentication and authorization. Maybe you've noticed that clients usually don't offer push notifications, which is a pretty standard user experience feature in every modern social network, for example. And other features that are not so Nostr related, but provide user experience that we as a users used to in our day-to-day life. For example, like importing or exporting some data, downloading some UI, etc., to not force people use our relays, our services, our servers, clients as highly technical people. So it should be easier for everyone. It should be easier for client developers to use relays to find what's wrong with their events, what validation errors do they have. For relay operators, it should be easy to understand what's going on in their relays, how many events do they have. They should be able to configure which events do they want to store, which events do they want to retain for how many, for how long, etc. So Saltivka is a project that aims to first serve for client developers and relay operators and be a friendly relay and server in Nostr ecosystem for them. Yeah, that's probably all for this introduction to this project. Thank you very much. It would be great to answer your questions.
Yeah, thank you a lot, Victor, for this amazing and rich presentation. So I'm really excited, man, for you, and I've been amazed by the amount of information you just provide in the statistics. So I just want to start by answering these main questions, which is the motivations for making this project, Saltivka. So is it like you got the motivation or the idea by trying to build a client side, and then you found some challenges? If there is any challenges you have met, so would you please like point them?
So do you ask why did I start this project, right?
Well, yes.
Yeah, I was following Nostr for a long time, moderate amount of time, maybe from a middle of previous year. And I've seen this concept interesting. I have a project in a bit related area, but not at this point, not at this stage of Nostr. If that's interesting, we can discuss it later, but I didn't try to implement a client. I have some expertise in backend and servers, how it works, and I decided to run existing projects, see what they can, and I see that currently there is no focus on this part of servers that I call friendly, that are used to fulfill user experience in the standard way. So like simple admin panel, because currently if you want to run a relay, for example, for your own needs, if I want to download some client, which I like, and I just want to chat with my family and friends on my personal relay, to not be dependent at all at any party, it's pretty difficult to, I wouldn't say it's pretty difficult to set up the relay, but it's pretty difficult to operate it because it lacks many features. And that's, of course, not an insult to the relay. It's just because their focus is different. Currently, Nostr network, currently Nostr's main focus in growing user base, and it mainly now is achievable by developing cool clients. And there is no time to put into servers. But in my opinion, when the next stage of user base growth comes into play, we will have to need much more advanced servers. And that's why I decided to invest some time into building such things. Yeah. So I want to support the network at the next stage, probably. Something like this.
Yeah. So for example, when you finish this this project developments, so how does this relay handle scalability?
Yeah, it's by the way, such questions are described in GitHub in more detail. So if anyone doesn't find their question answered, you can see it there. Regarding scalability, my main focus is on client developers who actually don't probably need huge scalability, right? Because when you develop a client, you have specific needs. You want to understand where you have problems. You want to understand how things going. You want maybe to understand which queries or commands or events are more like performant, usable, etc. So you have some needs. And currently, I think that supporting client developers is very important because we need clients, and clients are dependent on servers, and we need to help client developers to solve it. So client developers don't actually need to scale to millions of users, connections, etc. Regarding relay operators, they actually want to run a relay and they want to handle some users, right? And they may be interested in scalability, etc. And as we discussed, we need a lot of different servers, server types for different workload. And first of all, I will prioritize something small to mid level of workload. What does it mean? So for example, if I want to install the relay and use, for example, demos, just to chat with my family, friends, share photos, etc., and have a private ecosystem, right? For this, I don't actually need any scalable server at all. I want to handle like 10, 20, 100 users that will create like 100 events per day. And scalability is not my concern at all. I have different use cases, purposes, and interests. First of all, I want to solve such scenarios because it's not viable for such people to deal with some complex infrastructure, etc. Such people want to just click one button and pay $5 or $10 a month for this infrastructure and forget about it. Next is some businesses may want to run it on their networks, for example, for their employees, where you have, say, a couple of hundreds employees, creating a couple of hundreds of events each hour, for example, maybe, or something like that. So something medium. These people also have their own interests, and such use cases I want to cover out of the box to let people don't think about scalability, user resources, etc. If we are talking about deployments that will have to handle millions of connections, etc., it's a completely different topic because it depends not so much on development on a software project, rather than on infrastructure and how you deploy it. Currently, architecture of this project uses Redis and Postgres as a backend, and actually it scales horizontally very well. So if you, in theory, want to use this product, Saltivka, to serve a lot of simultaneous connections, users, and big high loads, you will just have to scale it horizontally using Redis and Postgres. Technically, it's written in Ruby, and some people who are familiar with software development may think that Ruby is not scalable, etc., etc. That's not true, and if you're interested, that's a great example to find out that that's not the case. But of course, in this situation with Ruby, which aims for developer productivity, for experimentation, for rich business logic, if you want to serve millions of clients, I hope sometime once it happens, you will just have to pay more for service. That's true. You can write something super I don't know, super specialized in Rust or something like that, and it will be super efficient. Maybe it will, maybe it will not, because it's a completely different topic. But what I want to say is my aim, so that with this project you can handle any workload you want. But of course, if we are talking about something huge, like hundreds of thousands of connections and requests, it will be much more challenging to set up an infrastructure for that. I'm not going to focus.
In your opinion,
excuse
me to interrupt you. In your opinion, to handle that much of interactions, in your opinion, what's the cost of running that kind of relay who can handle the lot of amounts of interactions and transactions?
It's a very wide question, because first we have to answer the question, what is workload? So for example, what do you mean big workload? Is it like creating thousands of events per second, or do you mean reading thousands of events per second?
Yeah, I mean both, both.
Yeah, so first we have to understand the ratio. You see, a ratio between read. So it's a complex topic. What I can tell that I took this implementation of mine, deployed it to DigitalOcean semi-managed environment that should cost me something around $150 per month. That is easy to set up, and I didn't do almost any performance optimizations in the project because it's not my goal. And with this setup for a couple of hundreds of dollars, it was able to create something around 500 of events per second. It's not a big number on one hand. On the other hand, in the real system, when you have 500 events created per second, it's something closer to millions per day or per month, for example. So it's a lot of traffic. And it should be manageable in this situation to scale from $100 to, say, $1,000 per month. So it's a very difficult topic, and it requires a lot of details when you want to answer it. But in this specific scenario, with a couple of hundreds of dollars per month, you should be able to say pretty confidently host, say, 10 to 100 active users per month. We don't discuss what does it mean. Do those users coming together at 1 p.m. every day, or do they split somehow their workload? But I would guess that something around 10,000 to 100,000 active users should be handleable with few $100 per month, something like that. But that's just my estimate, and developers' estimates are usually wrong in both directions.
So thank you.
Sorry, I'll finish that. This is not my main goal, to create the most performant implementation. My goal is to create an implementation that will, for example, allow client developers to experiment with NIPs that are still not merged, for example, that will allow relay operators to, say, configure authentication levels, to flexibly manage how can users pay for their subscriptions. And we are talking not about like Lightning invoice or fiat invoices, but also maybe some actions inside of the ecosystem. For example, what I want to support and what is almost ready is today, how do you pay for typical Nostr relays? You pay Lightning invoice, right? What I think would be interesting for relay operators and for regular users is to see some ads on the relay site, on the relay admin panel or your profile, or answer some polls maybe, and get some amount of free days or months for these actions. And I want such things to be configurable by relay operators, so that relay operators may find their incentive to run the relay, something like that. So this is my main goal. And I don't focus on performance, but I use such things that are referred to as boring technologies club, if you know. And Redis and Postgres are mature software things, and they should be able to handle a lot of developers' mistakes, to say so. So that is my goal. Yeah, I don't aim for performance, but usually this performance will be manageable, and if not, you will just have to pay some premium to providers, something like that. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you for answering, for clarifying first at first, and for answering my questions. So the project itself, it's I don't know, I never met, I mean, like, I never encountered some similar projects in the way, like we hosted many workshops and many demo days. So I wish you like present these projects in the demo day in front of our judges, because the workshop is like spreading knowledge and teaching some people about your projects. So Yufo, do you have any questions to ask?
No, that was a great experience. And yeah, Isaac told me that in workshop we just discussed the idea, and for demo day we will have something as other. So yeah, I have something we can showcase and we can discuss on real, yeah. It's a live project, but of course it doesn't have almost any users at all. There are just a couple of users each day connecting to this relay. But yeah, it requires some promotion.
So is it up and running like live right now? Yeah, we can add it to like Yakihan's to my Yakihan account and then see and test it out. So I would encourage everyone who's watching this streaming to like test it out and give us some feedbacks. We really help you contribute into these projects. So can you please show us your GitHub page for the audience, please, Victor?
Yes, it's here in the presentation. I will share you the presentation itself.
Yeah, so you just go to the Victor projects, and if you want to contribute to ask him anything.
I will share it. I would be grateful for any feedback. You can find docs here. You can find more information, for example, about authorization if you're a client developer, because authorization is an interesting topic today, I suppose. So you can read something here. I would be very thankful for any comments and issues, etc. Yeah, you can connect existing relay in your client. It's still in migration phase and it's running on a low-cost hardware, but I plan to migrate it soon so that people could use it actually better.
Yeah, I definitely will try it myself and tell you.
If we are already here, maybe we can look a bit closer. So that's, for example, today, if you're using your Nostr account, you can only use one pub key, right? For example, what I want to solve is if you want to sign up to some relay and register, you should be able to connect different pub keys. So for example, let's imagine you have 5 accounts and you paid for one of them for 1 month. I want it to be configurable for as relay operator. I want to make it configurable to decide, okay, if you paid for one pub key in my relay and you have 5 accounts, I want to allow you to use any of your pub keys as a paid subscription, something like that. So I want to allow all your pub keys to have better limits, for example, or backups or something like that. So these small details, what I want to allow for client developers, for relay operators, etc. Something not rocket science, but what we need in our everyday life for convenience.
Yeah. Okay.
And it would be great to share more details on demo.
Yeah. So Yufo, do you have any questions? Yufo.
Yeah, I'm clear.
Currently, I don't. It's a very great this sharing. It's really looking forward to the demo live and to more information sharing from Victor from your project.
Thanks a lot.
So yeah, thank you, Victor, again for the presentation and also for answering our questions. And furthermore questions, if there is any, I will directly transfer it to you, and you can answer it from there. Also, I want to thank the audience who's watching this stream for being here and for being present to all our workshops. We really appreciate that. So, any last word, Victor?
Yeah, thank you very much. And I think we can make a lot of fun on Nostr, but we have to remember about important things and don't think that something will be handled magically, because oftentimes I can see it on Nostr vibes. And I'm trying to be realistic. Sometimes it looks like it's pessimistic, but I think we should be realists, and servers have to get much more attention to make Nostr decentralized, to make Nostr robust, etc. So
yeah.
But in general, I want to thank everybody who's contributing and just interested in Nostr, because it's super cool and important development.
Yeah. So other last word. So guys, thank you for being here again. I wish to see you in the another workshops and on the upcoming demo. So take care, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Thank you
Bye.
everyone. Thank you guys. See ya.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
So there is